Hi! Wax sealing is all about magic and romance. Today I will tell you about the sealing wax and how you can replace it. And also, we'll discuss how you can make an imprint with your own design. But it will be for dessert. Now let's see how to make a seal with Hogwarts houses or with any other design, for gift wrapping, secret letters and other purposes. Imprints are made with such stamps. I've got all of them from AliExpress. The first one was with the houses, the second one was letter M, and then I became so obsessed with this whole idea. As you might notice, stamps can be of different diameter. Finally, the sealing wax. The very first sticks I bought in Moscow. This one in Frankfurt, it was twice as expensive as the previous one, but I couldn't resist it, because I had no idea yet that sealing wax from China is also pretty good. Yeah, the rest of wax I bought on AliExpress. This material is made in different shapes. It can be with or without a wick, in tiny beads, and there is also sealing wax for glue guns, but I found it out after I had filmed the main part of the video. Plus, I think that a glue gun will definitely ruin the vibe of melting sealing wax over a candle, so I didn't deeply explore this hot gun matter. Moreover, we will talk about the glue gun in this video a bit later. First, I decided to compare sealing wax with a wick from 3 different countries. My first wax from Moscow I used a lot, and it seems like when I used it for the last time, the wick became so short that the light went out several times. Luckily, I had one more similar stick. Well, I think we can highlight the first minus of the sealing wax with a wick. But the wax itself is quite thick and gives a good imprint. Let's try the German one. It's new, so for sure there will be no problems with a wick. But this time there is a different problem with it. When I blew the stick out, it kept smoking. It won't end. And it was pointless to keep blowing, because it would only add oxygen to the smoldering wick, which definitely didn't have any interest in stopping smoking, so it kept doing so. Only water in a spray bottle next to me helped me out. The wick finally stopped smoking. To be honest, after I had sprayed it with water one more time, the burnout part of the wick broke off, so here the wick is also short now. And it's likely that I'll face the same problem as with the Moscow wick. But to be frank, I have no desire to light it again anymore. But the seal turned out as wonderful as the previous seal. Speaking about the Chinese sealing wax, by the way, it's not a fact that the wax I bought in Moscow and Germany is not made in China. Unfortunately, I'll never know. Anyway, the Chinese sealing wax proved itself pretty good. But the wick went out again, so I didn't continue as I saw no point in it. The scent doesn't differ from the previous waxes, it is also nice and somehow warm. And the imprint also turns out good and fast. Except the highlighted minuses of a wick, I'd like to say that it's quite difficult working with such a shape of wax. It all starts with melting sealing wax, twisting your wick and getting nice vibes. Everything is cool, but you also need to watch the fire and keep it from burning your wax till it's black. Also avoid heavy smoking and the situation when a burnt piece of wick falls into your seal, because it will make everything dirty and messy. And when you blew out the wick, the most important thing is to avoid heavy smoking, which, as you remember, happened to my second wick. If you need to put somewhere the melting wax, it means that you need to prepare the place in advance where you will put it, and mind the last drop, which can, like a she-devil, fall and ruin your artwork. This happened to me twice, because the wax was still quite liquid when I blew down the light. It didn't harden in a second, it was still hot. it means that you need to keep an eye on it as well. Then, when you have decided where to put your bags, you still need to make a stamp, which you also need to prepare in advance, turn it to get the right side to make an imprint. Anyway, at first glance it may seem to you like, so what, all I need to simply prepare everything? But personally, I like gradual and calm pace of work. I hate such bustle, like in this case when you work with fire and the work itself can't be redone if you make a postcard, for example, or if you make an invitation. Well, I don't like this intensity of emotions during the process of work. That's why I prefer other shapes of sealing wax, which make the process more relaxing. Maybe it's just a matter of habit, but I didn't really like working with a wick. That's why I prefer to use sealing wax beads. To melt them, you need to put several beads in a spoon and hold it over a candle. I ordered a spoon, which turned out to be super small and quite flimsy, and only one bead can fit inside. When I told you about this spoon in stories on Instagram, a subscriber advised me one thing. And this thing turned out to be one of the best ways to work with sealing wax beads. First of all, in a set there is a better made spoon. Secondly, it's much easier to work using this spoon holder. Only once you need to light a candle, and after that it keeps burning inside of this holder. And you can put 2 or 3 star beads in the spoon, but it depends on the size of your stamp. Wax melts quite well, it doesn't burn, and it's easy to pour it, controlling the size and place. The only problem with this method is that you need to give the spoon a good clean, because if you want to use directly opposite colors, the previous ones, which stuck to your spoon, might spoil everything. This material doesn't easily come off the spoon when it's hard, so I found this solution. It's enough to melt the rest of sealing wax and wipe it off with a paper towel. Be careful and don't burn yourself when you will clean the spoon. Remember that it is quite hot. There are many ways to vary your seals. For instance, you can take only one color and highlight the edges with a marker. I took a fabric marker, which is not the best option, as it's better to take a marker which works on all surfaces. But in my case, this marker simply perfectly matched the seal. There is one more advantage of using a spoon. You can take several colors for one seal. They might be completely different, like in this seal, or more similar. A seal is used not only to seal letters or presents, you can also attach different decorative elements. In my case, it was a cedar twig because it was at hand, but actually you can take everything which is more or less flat. And the third shape of sealing wax which I have is a stick without a wick, which you need to cut. The advantage here is that you can control the amount up to a milligram of this or that color of the future seal and mix the never-ending number of colors. However, it's not that easy to cut it. Although, for instance, I would love to cut a stick wax with a wick as well. Going back to the topic of seal decor, what I can say is that here you can experiment infinitely, like adding different glitter, dry flowers on which you can pour wax or just put the flowers onto it. But the thing is that sealing wax is an unpredictable matter, and the result doesn't always resemble to what you have imagined. That's why I found a way to make some kind of seal stickers. I attached a white piece of tape on paper and made sure that my sealing wax perfectly comes off. Yeah, it's better to make sure of it at the beginning. These circles doesn't work with any glue. I didn't manage to simply take them and attach to paper. So I came up with a small hack. To make such a sticker, I take a small piece of paper and pour the wax on it, so that you'll be able to apply a drop of glue to this tiny paper piece, and this sticker will be really secure. Of course, it will be not that good like when you pour wax directly on the spot. To be precise here, the edges will come off a little, but still. On the other hand, you can make several pre-made seals and use them anytime you want later. As I have already told you, you can vary your seals by anything, for instance, by adding dry flowers. Or by decorating the edges. But here you need to remember that you must wait a little bit till the wax is not that hot, otherwise it will stick to your brush. I advise you to train in this to be able to better understand when it's time to add glitter, still be able to spread it and let it attach to wax. Now let's talk about how we can replace sealing wax. The best analog is glue from glue gun. Except the transparent glue, it can also be dyed, like the one in my glue gun, which I used to seal my sets. Yeah, it's much more convenient and easier to use it, but less romantic. Such glue can be with glitter. I bought one specifically for this video, and the second one was the page of a potion I got from my subscriber. I will put it in the gun, but first we need to wait till the red glue ends. I think this is the only one and at the same time the biggest disadvantage working with a glue gun. You can't just take and switch the colors like in a spoon. The glue seal looks a lot like the wax seal, matte inside and glossy outside, and this is cool. The seal with glitter also looks quite interesting. If you want to change the color in a glue gun, it's not necessary to wait till you run out of the stick you use at the moment. If a glue gun is warm enough, you can take out the stick and put a different one in. But you will need to do something with the remnants of glue. There are quite a lot of them, so it's better to think ahead which seal to make and where, instead of wasting this glue. Or maybe you need to glue something, who knows? By the way, I failed making stickers out of this glue. It is too sticky and it sticks to tape really bad. At least speaking about the glue with glitter, the funny thing is that the imprint is seen only at some angle. It's also possible to use the advantage of transparent glue and make the seals with dry flowers. By the way, going back to the topic of my sets making, in some moments of this video I leave and then come back to make the seals. The thing is that the surface of a stamp cools wax or glue, so that these materials harden and the stamp doesn't stick to them. But if you work with the same stamp for a very long time, it also becomes hot and it won't perform its function. That is why from time to time I had to leave and put the stamp into the fridge. Wait a sec. It's hard to speak. Well, there is one more way to replace sealing wax. Not the best one though, but I can't skip mentioning it. It's polymer clay. At first I took ceramic clay, which I got from Rosalina with all the flowers for the crescent wreath. But it wasn't that good for stamps with tiny details and elements. But the advantage of polymer clay is that you can prettily shade it with pigments or, like I do it right now, with eyeshadows. Then I took Female, which is harder a bit, but the result was the same. You won't get a good clay seal with tiny elements. However, the plain prints turn out to be pretty good. Actually, there is a reason why I mentioned polymer clay. Long time ago, I made Hogwarts envelopes using polymer clay. And as you can see, the result is quite alright. It is also possible to order a stamp with your own design. For this you'll need to make a vector image of a print, logo or initials and send it to a workshop. Next, such a brass flat stamp is taken and put inside of a fiber laser engraver. Particularly, this model is professional. It is, by the way, non-reactive to organics. It means that it won't burn wood, and even if you put your hand there, nothing will happen. But trying this out, of course, is a bad idea, so don't do it. And at the same time, it is like ripping out the particles of metal. Next, the laser focus is set to make the image sharp. So these 3 red dots must become a single dot. After that, the base needs to be centered. To make the center be in the center. What's interesting is that on camera the red line crawls because of the frame rate, and in real life we saw a red circle. Then we turn on the laser and make the first test drive. Yeah, at first glance this process looks pretty fast, but the master said that we need to repeat this 100 times. Only after that we would get the depth I wanted. And the main thing was not to move anything. Yeah, you heard it right. Now the laser is set to make 100 of such moves, and it takes a lot of time. Each time it removes a new layer and thus goes deeper and deeper. You mustn't look at all this with an unprotected eye, so you're lucky as you watch the video and your eyes are safe, and also you see an undistorted image, but we were wearing such glasses. To me, this whole process and situation was somewhat reminiscent of the Iron Man. So that's how we get such a stamp, which you can screw on a handle and can freely make sealing wax stamps. Laser gives us an opportunity to engrave extremely tiny details. But keep in mind that wax might not leak into such thin lines, so your imprint might turn out not that pretty. I hope this video was interesting and useful for you. Many thanks to my sponsors for support. And don't forget to check the info in the description. And I love you this much. Bye.